CDC Director was fired after refusing to resign as her lawyers accuse you, sir, of putting millions of American lives at risk as a CDC vaccine chief slammed in a resignation post. What are your thoughts on that, sir?
Well, I'm not going to comment. It would be inappropriate for me to comment on a personnel issue. What I will say is, President Trump has very, very ambitious hopes for CDC right now. CDC has problems. We saw the misinformation coming out of COVID. They got the testing wrong. They got the social distancing, the masks, the school closures that did so much harm to the American people. Now, today on CDC's website right now, they list the 10 top advances, the 10 greatest advances in medical science, and one of them is abortion. Another is fluoridation, another is vaccines. So we need to look at the priorities of the agency. If there's really a deeply, deeply embedded, I would say, malaise at the agency. And we need strong leadership that will go in there and that will be able to execute on President Trump's broad ambitions.
Hi, my name is Dr. Urban, and once again, RFK Jr. is lying to you and stretching the truth to try to advance a political agenda. There is nowhere on the CDC's website that lists abortion as one of the top greatest scientific achievements. There are 2 web pages that talk about public health achievements, and one of them talks about family planning, but nowhere in that article does it mention abortion. He also sidesteps answering the question about why he fired Susan Minares. It is so clear that he's doing this because of politics and because he wants to advance his own personal agenda that's not rooted in science, but in his warped worldview. He can now rubber stamp whatever recommendations he wants when there's no CDC director that won't do it for him. Because the FDA recently approved the COVID vaccine with certain restrictions, you need the CDC with their advisory committee on immunization practices to rubber stamp it, and then the CDC director has the final say. And since she's been fired before the meeting that's going to happen September 18th and 19th, he gets to now sign off on that and take all the credit for his anti-vaccine nonsense. With all of this chaos going on at the CDC, leaders have resigned, which sparked Senator Bill Cassidy, who's part of the Senate Health Committee, primarily responsible for getting RFK Jr. confirmed, tweeting out that the Senate Health Committee needs to have some oversight into the situation. Well, I'm curious what he's going to actually do, because he is the reason why RFK Jr. is here and the reason why the CDC is so dysfunctional.